Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another class. Let me check if everything is working fine. I'm using a new setup today. I changed my PC, so I hope everything is working fine. Let's check this here. Another class. Let me check if everything... Okay, this sound looks good, and let's go. In today's class, I'm planning to solve the question 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's start it. I already have the files for the question 3 and 4. So let's go there and copy the description and let's go there. Question 3, let me do this. And I need to remember to make this our entry point. So I go here, I will comment this guy and just add this. Right. So now if let me test because I have to restart my environment. So just make sure that we are working. Yeah, looks okay. Yeah, so the question state read two integer numbers a and b and print the result of all arithmetic operations you know for a and b. So this question, I will skip that important step to do the design because this one is very simple and we may skip that. When an engineer get like very experienced and they are dealing with problems that he is doing all the time, we don't not always need to go to the drawing board and all that. I do that like most of the time, but in this case, we don't need. So basically it's really two integer numbers. So this happens in every area. In the beginning, we have some difficult to understand basic thing, but later on, things start to get even boring because we already know most of them. So this happened here. So let's declare the variables int. I can call n1 or n2. AI is trying to help me here. I may be gonna turn that off. Let's see if I can find easily. Quick settings. Not going to waste time. I already did this before in the other one, but let's see. I will call, could be anyone, num1, or I like to give full names to variables. So number 1. And what you do, we'll do that pass int and then console readline. And before I will do a console dot write, enter the first number or enter, as I mentioned, really two integer numbers a and b. I could say enter the number a, just to match whatever is in the, and here I can even change the name to match what description is going. So this is a good idea because we keep our application with names similar to the specification. So if you are in an interview or even in your work, we make it easier to relate the content, the words from the problem scope to your code. So I try to use the same names that the problem is listed. So let's just do a copy and paste here. We can put a space here too. That we are reading. So now I have to fix this. For sure, we're gonna do a lot of mistakes because of copy and paste and forget something. And now we can do a few operations. Yeah, AI is kind of mess with us, but I guess it's part of this training because I want you all to already learn using at least the basic of AI. Look, the IDE here got the description and this helped me to do it. So open a parenthesis here. That is where I see that the basic skills or the required skill to be a software engineer is shifting a little bit because that raw analytical think and logical think that was extremely necessary to do coding, now it's kind of fade away a little bit. Now it's more about some basic knowledge, a strong foundation, communication skills, because at the end of the day, when you create a program, that is a language. So if you're good in understanding, clarifying, writing, that skill can be translated to coding. And now one of my goals is to try to remove that barrier where everybody thought that software engineer, computer programmer was like a very smart guy that know how to solve like mathematical problem, very partial true in some areas, but most of the areas no. A simple thing, we just need to know how to do some stuff. And now with AI, most of the boring and some of the complex can be all abstracted. We have the abstraction layer that is help us on that. So I'll turn this off. Should I turn it off? Let me make sure. Because otherwise, look how will be my code here. I just hit tab, 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 tab. However, what happened here? We didn't learn about this yet. So that's why the tab here is not going to work. And I'm going to show you what problem we can face because of that. So we are doing here. Let me turn this off. Let me see if I can easily do from here. Oh, it's C# already, but it's compiled to the IDE. So quick settings, C#. Okay, I think if I do this, it's gonna fix that. Okay, now I am okay. So we already have here 3 outputs: addition, subtraction, multiplication. We already learned about those before. Let's do division here. And then there is something else that we learned. Remember, we have this as well. The module or the reminder. And we have to remember that division, in this case, we could do the integer division and the float division as well. If we get one of this and we convert it to, for example, decimal. Remember this is very important because this is the integer division. There is no decimals, will always be. And this one is the reminder. So I even put the reminder below the integer division because they complete each other. So that will be a possible solution for this problem. Another thing we could do, in this case, I don't suggest is we could store each one of those values. We could create variables to do something like this. Int, because the subtraction of 2 integers will be an integer as well. Or addition, so addition. I want you to understand the difference. I'm going to store this calculation and I will put in a variable. And this is not going to waste more memory because anyway, that will have to be calculated and stored somewhere. And here I say, okay, print the addition. I do the same with this one. Int subtraction. And I will print subtraction. Not subtraction. Multiplication. This is nice because then we are learning a little bit about code organization as well. It's like when you are learning how to write. A nice essay is not the one that has a lot of things. It's that well organized, you have space, you have a paragraph, you have like sessions where you're talking about topics, different topics. So you have an introduction, there is like the development, and then the conclusion at the end. So a program is similar. We are doing all the input, all the calculation, and then all the output. And this is wrong. So I can do this. Instead of changing to place, I can right click and do a rename. So it'll be multiplication. I already changed both places. And then I'll do the same for division. However, I will call integer division. And here I put integer division. I'll do the same for the float division or decimal division. Let's call it decimal division. And I will print that decimal division. It's very important that you understand. If it does not clear, go back and watch the previous class that I explained this in show example. And here, oh, sorry. This was not the decimal. Oh, look up the mistake I'll do. This is the decimal division is here. Of course, cannot be an integer because I'm converting to decimal, so it has to be a decimal. And now we have the reminder. Oh, not remainder, no? Oh, the mod. I guess it's reminder. It's not something that's gonna remember, it's reminder. Or we can just go easy, it's called mod. What is sure? Oh, this is the symbol. What is going on here? Oh, I mess with this. Actually, look, this was a bug that I introduced, and then here I have to remember to do this, and actually this is here, and this is the mod. There is part of the code, and if you want to separate here, we are doing this. This is the input. This is all of our processing. And this is our output. Oh, sorry. Output. That is the advantage when we are separating all this calculation, because now we gave a name. In this case, it's very simple. We can quickly look and know, oh, there's addition, subtraction, but when we have more like text, we have salary increase or discount, the calculation, sometimes there is extra operation that is nice to give a name. So now let's put a breakpoint and see how this program is going to run. Let me run it. Oh, enter number A. Let's put like 7. Oh, I did something that I didn't like. Here I put right line. So look, it's writing this here and then move to the next line. I just want a right, so I stay in the same line. Do you see why I do so much bugs in coding? Because one little thing can change the behavior and it's not what I expect. So now see, I enter the number. Another thing that is not nice, it's nice to have a space here. So it's not like close there. So I stop this and then run it again. You have to be very patient and pay attention to your craft and do a lot of testing. A good software engineer has to be very good in testing. So let's put like 7 and then 2. We are here. Let's open our locals. Why we see all the variables there? Because our code is compiled and then the environment already know about those variables. Right now, they have all the default values that for integers number are in number value 0. But now you gotta calculate. Number 1, 7 plus 2 will be like 9. Subtraction, 5, it's a mistake. And then the multiplication, 14. Integer division will be 3. Decimal division, 3.5. And then the mod, that will be 1. Now we are gonna print it. So we're gonna see the output. Pa, 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 and pa. And of course, if you are still confused, go back and watch the string interpolation. that when you use this dollar and the string, whatever is not between these brackets is exactly what is in there. It's like it's a constant. So we are trying to give all these operations so we can print it. Cool. So this is a very simple one. It's just to like warm up your mind, and a good idea to understand why it's nice to have your code separating input, processing, and output. If I was doing an interview, of course, my level, no one will give me a problem like this, but I could maybe add those operations direct here. However, why is good to do this? Because it's very common for us to use in one place and use in a different place as well. So we don't need to do the same calculation again. First, because we are doing an extra calculation. Second, because if you want to change it, we just need to change in one place. And this is something that in coding, we need to be always pay attention. Don't repeat yourself. I'm gonna teach you this very well. Like how can we avoid unnecessary code, unnecessary. It's like when you are writing an essay and you start to duplicate things. It's boring for whoever is reading. It makes it hard for them to follow up. It's different when they're teaching, because sometimes when they teach, it's nice to repeat things so people remember and help to absorb. But here, we try to avoid any repetition that is not necessary. So I will save this, and now let's move to the next problem. I know that most of the people watch this offline, so when you see a question, try to do the question yourself before, and then come to watch to get some tips how to solve it. Let's go back to our questions here. And let's, sorry. I almost forgot to show something very important. That we don't know how to really fix right now, but imagine that we do something like this. I run my program, and I put the numbers like 5 and then 0. There is an improvement in C# already that we may not see what could show the problem, but let's go there. So addition is okay because we can add one number with 0. Subtraction as well, multiplication as well will be 0, but now we are doing a division. And as we don't know in math, division by 0 is undefined. I know there is some discussion about if it's infinite or it's undefined. I don't remember exactly. I was talking to my son the other day. He said, oh, because when I was a student, 4 years ago, I learned that was undefined. But now there is something new. Not new, no, good. What I expect happen here. We got exception say divide by 0. So this is something that you're going to learn more and learn how to avoid it. So what we got here is we try to divide by 0, and this is something that is kind of like, we say impossible or is not defined. So we have this error that you're going to learn later on. So every time we are doing a division, we need to make sure that the denominator is not 0. And then there is a few ways to avoid that. We can test if it is, or you can catch the exception and do some treatment. So we're going to learn this about later on. So just to explain that all the mathematical rules are respected in the computer world. So in this case, like if we run our program, why is not type? Oh, what is going on? The keyboard is working. Oh, I saw dumb. This is the terminal. No, the terminal should be able to write. Let me open a terminal here. And I go to wait for the school, learn. Let me go to 01 project, and then I'll do a .NET run. So our program is running here. I will put like 10 and then 0. Our program will crash and then print or provide a error message, say what happened. In the line 13, our program CS. This was called line 25. We have this operation. So that's why there is a lot of bugs in coding, because there is a lot of things that can go wrong. This is one of them. If you try division by 0, with good exception. Some language and some environment will deal with this a little bit different. Even in C#, there is some configuration that we can put that this will show infinite. Let's do something here, just to refresh my mind. And let's try this. I will enable the chat and I will ask, what happened when we divide a number by or per 0? Is it infinite or impossible? Impossible. This is lovely, because before we had to go to Google search, and then now we can someone that can do that research for us, and we can even ask for some more details. Feel free to abuse those agents to learn and to add things. So let's see what it says here. For whole numbers, int, long, in C# divided by 0 is not allowed. It does not produce infinite. It's through a runtime exception. Example, this crash. Now look at this detail. For float point numbers, float decimal, this give like the infinite, so it's something different. Or if is 0 by 0 is not a number. So for int, number values is impossible. For float, it's going to be possible, but then it's going to return infinite or not a number, depending. So this is one little detail that, of course, we will learn how to proper deal with it and avoid it, but just something that, for example, maybe in an interview or in exam certification, they can say, oh, what could be wrong with those operations? And then you would say, well, addition, there is no problem. There is one that they're going to explain soon. Subtraction as well. Multiplication, division. What could be wrong in the addition? If we already know that both variables integer, they have a maximum size. So if you get two of them and put the maximum size, when we add them, we're going to have a number that is bigger than int, and this can give an exception. So if we're adding two integer and we want to be able to store, we have to use the result as a long. So this is a little detail that is just to explain it. In most of the language, the only one I know is Python, that there is no limit, like how much memory you have will be used to store a number. But you have to make sure that if you do a operation like addition or multiplication, you have to make sure that the numbers that you are being multiplied, the result can fit in this type. So a good answer could say, well, this could give an overflow if the sum of the, right, if you are some age, we'll never pass this. If you are some maybe years, we're not going to pass this. But maybe if you are something that is huge, maybe let's see, numbers of grains in the bits, sand bits, something like this, may go over what the integer can support. So that is another example why we may have some bugs that we are not expecting, because we can look to this all day and say, no, this is perfect fine. Nothing wrong could happen here. But there is what we call exception, corner case. So do the exercise, try to put huge numbers here until you can see when it's going to break, or just look documentation, what is the maximum value for an integer, and then put something that is going to go over it. Those are the kind of things that may break your code. And of course, we are still in the early steps, but we're going to learn how to deal with this later on. There is very robust and good ways to deal with it. And of course, you could not forget to mention this one. Well, division, there is something else. If you are divided by 0, we may have something that is going to crash, or we're going to have an infinite or not a number. So your program has to be ready to deal with it. Cool. Okay, so now that we covered this, let's go back to the next question. So the question 4. Oh, and we could run this guy. As I'm here, let me run like something like this. Every time we're gonna test, try to do something like this, just to see if you're gonna break it. -7 and 3. You still go, and you check the math, should be correct, okay? Now let's get the question 4. And as we already have the file, let's go there. I put the description here, and I need to go to, where is it? Our program. I will copy this line, comment this one. So if you later want to run, and then I'll change this to question 4. Now I have nothing in question 4. Question 4, what is the input? 3 numbers. What is the output? Calculate the average. So if we're gonna do that graphical thing, if you open, I don't need to do it. So what the input? 3 numbers. So we can even be lazy and copy and paste from another program. We can go here. However, now I will change a little bit because the question mentioned 3 numbers. It's not like number A, B, and C. So maybe it would be nice to call this number 1 and then put here, read number 1. Let's read the second number, the third number, and I have to remember to fix. Trust me, you still do at least 75 times mistakes by copy and paste and not fixing it in your first year of software engineering. So now I'm reading the 2 numbers. One suggestion that I do is never write a full program before you test. Of course, do your algorithm. We're going to learn how to properly do this later on. But as soon as you have some part, just test it. You can break a breakpoint maybe just to see how it goes. Oh, wait. Where did I put this? Oh, something is wrong. What did I do? It's running somewhere. Is that what happened here? Oh, let me close those guys. And now I can run again. Do you want to start? Yes. So let me put a breakpoint here at the end. And then what you see, number 1, 10, number 2, 20, number 2, 30, or 3. Oh, is still here. And I'll put 30. I can see here, oh, number 1 is because I could copy and paste and have those numbers here wrong. This is something that a software engineer will have to focus, pay attention to details. It's very common to do those mistakes. For example, I forgot and then this guy I called number 2. So I will spot very quickly here when I'm testing, oh, 30 is in number 2 and not in number 3. So it's something that you have to be used to be doing. So now that I have this, let's do it. Okay, let's calculate the average. The question didn't specify if the average will be an integer or be a float. Sometimes I have to use common sense. If nothing else is said, I assume that it's a float, it's a decimal thing. Because when doing an average of integer, we want to do the decimal thing. Doesn't warm to ask if you are doing an interview or what should I store a result. Just to make sure that this is clear, I could solve this problem by doing console.writeLine and then doing something like this. I do interpolation. The average is, and here I would write the expression. I could say number 1 plus number 2 plus number 3 divided by 3. I hope you already think, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong. Why? Because I explained this. Based on the operation priority, we will do the division first and then the addition. So how do we fix this? We put all this, all this between parentheses. So then we force the addition first and then a division by 3. As everything here is integer, I have to remember to convert those guys. Let's do this way so you can just see what happened, because this is a mistake that could happen and take a while until someone figure out the problem. So let's run it. I remove the breakpoint. What is going on? Oh, sorry. I guess somehow I was still running from previous time and got stuck there. Let's go. Let's put like 3, 7, and 10. The average is 6. Is that correct? So look, this will be 20. 20 divided by 3 is not 6. It will be 18. So if we test with something like this, for example, imagine that I'm testing. This is a mistake that you should never do. Never do a test that is just simple like this. Oh, I will make my life easy. I'll put 3, 3, and 3. What is the average of 3 and 3 and 3? Should be 3. What happened here? We didn't spot that problem, that we are doing a integer division here, because everybody here is an integer. I will have to get one of those and convert. For example, I can make this and convert to decimal if I want. Or I could just put decimal in somewhere. So what I'm doing now is that this constant is a decimal. So as it's participating in a division, this division will be a float one. This is something that C#, Java has, and it's part of it. Some other language, this division is always the float one. If we want the integer division like Python, we do this. So just to let you know that every language will have a little bit nuance, a little bit thing, something a little bit different to test. So let's run again. And what were the other none was, oh, I was running a different window, so we didn't see it. So it'll be like, let's put like 3 was 7 and 10. I guess 3, 6, and 10, or something like this. Now we can see this. Why I don't like this way here? Because first, it would be better for us to have something like this. One variable that we could say that is decimal, call average, and then you receive that expression, decimal, not decimal. And then that average will go here. Do you agree that this is better to understand, easier to understand? Because now I say, okay, this is an average, so I need to change it. And then I can easily put something here that will format that with 2 decimals. So let's run this again. And put like, oh, sorry, not there, here. 3, 6, and then 10. We could test with 0, negative numbers, because the math will be the same. The average with negative and positive numbers will be calculated correctly. In this case, the division is always by 3, so it's not going to cause us any problem. But someone asks, what could go wrong in this problem, the way that is here? Well, the 3 numbers combined, if they are big, they can go over what like an integer could store. In this case, it's fine because we are not storing this in, so C# will appropriate put this in a big, in the best type that can support this operation. But if you assign this to a variable, for example, if you have a variable sum, and then we store that, that could be a problem. So just to give some, sometimes I'm afraid that this course is focused for beginners, so someone that has no coding background, and I'm afraid that give all those details can scare you, but I'm gonna try to go easy on that. But now we can easily see, let's separate that. Input, processing, and the output. I'm not going to put that again, but we're gonna try to organize our code at least in those three parts. Cool. This is nothing like complicated. Now let's check the question number 5. Yeah, 5. So we don't have a file for it yet, so I right click here. Or I can do this, I'll be lazy. I will copy this guy, copy, paste, and then I rename it. I could ask Copilot to do that, but it's so fast that I prefer to do myself. And then I'll change here to question 5, and I'll clean up all this. Well, actually, yeah, let's clean up everything. And now I have to go to my program. I will keep this there. There is a lot of work that we do that is just this, copy and paste and fix. So don't think that code is always exciting, complex, and very low. Sometimes there's boring stuff that you have to do. We get a code to maintain that was built like 10 years ago. Hey, he's a good friend of mine. We worked together a long time ago. He was my student, and Ricardo. Yes, so he is like 11 p.m. So he is in Sweden. He just woke up. So, hey, thank you for. Let me know if the sound is good, the audio is good, and if you can see the screen. So, nothing good for you here. You already know all this. So, thank you for passing by. So, the question will be question 5, and let's copy the texting. So we have this there. Question 5, and this guy learned to code for me. So I was his professor and we worked together. He was my trainee for a long time, and now he is a very experienced, and we talk a lot about AI thing, and he's like pushing the limits on the thing. Later on, maybe I can invite him to do some show off. He recently bought a new MacBook, those mini, to help him doing all the automation. So he is one of the guys that I know is investing like heavily in learn the thing. So let's go here. Sound and image, good. Thank you. Great. So read the base and the length of a rectangle and calculate its area. In this case, no formula was given, but because it's a very simple one, if you don't know, just Google it. It's very common. Don't get scared or afraid if in your work or something, you're in a book or in a video, someone is solving a problem that you have no idea how to solve it. There are so much like complicated stuff out there that we have no clue how to fix, how to do it. And I remember once I was a professor and a friend of mine came to my home, and his son was doing, I guess was mechanical engineer. And he told me, oh, do you know, could you help my son with one assignment? He has to create a program, but he doesn't know how to do it. And I said, okay, I can try. And then the kid started to explain me the problem. And I said, dude, I have no idea. It was something very complicated equation there. No, but I just need to do a program to, yeah, I know how to do the program, but you need to explain me how to solve it. As soon as you explain me how to use that equation, then I can help you with the problem. And then I didn't write the code for him, but I tried to explain, okay, this is how you do this, how you do that. And later on, he could figure out how to build the code. But don't think because you know coding, you're going to be able to solve any problem, because like you're going to deal with problem like rockets and like so much stuff is out there. Like you work in an accounting company, how are you going to be how are you going to build accounting software if you don't know about accounting? You have to learn. This is a good example. Oh, we don't know about this, but it's simple. Just research them, just ask. So we are talking about a rectangle. So rectangle have the base and the length. It's like two sides. The two of them should be equals. It's like, you know what a rectangle. I'm not going to explain. So basically what we're going to do, well, let's use the same name, read the base, the length, and then calculate the area that is multiply one by the other. Quick thing here. What kind of the type you think we should use for base and length? Mostly will be a decimal, a float, or something that has a decimal. Maybe in a very particular case, could be integer. Imagine that we work something that, oh no, we only use integer here to define the size of those squares. Maybe a game or something like that is only 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5 units. That could be possible. But if nothing was said, I would say, okay, let's do as a decimal. If it's an interview, I will ask, oh, what should I use as a type of rectangle here? Could have decimal. So then we're going to say, okay, let's use decimal. And we're going to call base. That for that, we're going to do the parse. Do you see that this is already even boring? Because, oh, I already know how to do this. And that's happened. Like with time, almost everything will be as simple as this for us. And then console.readline. And of course, I'm not showing this yet, but we are not typing code anymore. I'm showing you doing this because I want you to learn and be able to validate. But there are years, up at least 2 years already, that I don't type one single line of code in my work. Because if I do, I will be wasting time, because AI can generate code way faster than me. However, I never produce so much code, and I never had to read, review, and like correct so much code. So the skill has changed a little bit. But for now, I'm doing this way so you can learn. So let's see what is wrong here. Oh, do you see? Base is already a reserved word. So in this case, we cannot call our variable base because that is already a reserved word. So let's call this, how we can call this, rectangle base. Sometime we need to adapt. And then here we do a console.write. Here I can just say base. I do a quick copy and paste. And here will be the length. As I use rectangle base, I will call rectangle length as well, just to be constant. Now, of course, I'm gonna say that the decimal area will be 1 multiplied by other. And I can do the printing now. The area of a rectangle with rectangle length and rectangle. Oh, I changed it. No, that to put the length first. Oh, the base first. Sorry. Let me fix this real quick. With base and rectangle length base. Oh, I called area D. Or I could even, that's all, just call area and not rectangle area. So we could say area. So the output I want to say is I want to put this text, the area of a rectangle with this value base and this value length is this result. So if we run our code now, let's put like a rectangle 2 by 5 is 10. Let's run again and put like 3.5, oh, sorry, not where I want. 3.5 multiplied by 7.8. That is the result. Or we could go easy here and just say base equals to this, length equals to this, area equals to this. This is the a different way to do the output. All this will depend what the user want, what the business need. Here is just for our exercise, and you are ready to compose any output that is needed. So let's just see if we didn't break it by doing the change. Believe me, every little change you do, test your problem again, because you can change and then test with something that you know. For example, 10.5 multiplied by 4.5. Then you can have an idea here. Cool. Yeah, that is it. My plan was to solve those questions today, and I hope I help you to understand this. And see you next class. God bless you. Bye-bye. I hope I help you to understand this. And see you next class. God